Welcome everybody, Jason Rosen here with Troy Opperly for US Enzymes to talk about another one of our products in detail in one of our fun little webinar style lecture series here. And we are going to talk about a fun product that I know you spent a lot of time developing, and that's our Proteinxym. It's obviously our protein-based product. Again, for those docs that don't know, our line is 100% vegan. And before you cringe and be like, "Ooh, vegan protein, it's going to taste terrible," bear with us until we finish this webinar, because I know that was a big thing for you, Troy. Was like, all right, I want to make a true world-class vegan protein powder that will alleviate a lot of the big concerns with vegan-based proteins. Number one being a taste issue, and then the second thing is, the assimilation problem a lot of people have with vegan-based proteins. Like, a lot of people will get a really bad gas, really bad bloating, really bad gut ache when they take vegan-based proteins. So, Troy, why don't I hand it over to you here, and you can tell us a little bit about what went into developing this, and then we'll get really into the details of how this stacks up against the marketplace.
Yeah, so this was an exciting, fun project, and something a little outside of our, area of expertise. So I do want to give credit to, there was a French medical doctor / pastry chef that's produced some of the best-selling proteins on the planet. So we did confer and consult with him, came up, visit our facility, and work through all the nuances of making this happen. So obviously our main goal was to make this thing taste so great that you couldn't stop eating it, right?
Yeah.
That you would forsake all other proteins and then use this exclusively. So
yeah, only a French person would go through medical school and then also become a pastry chef. Because I think it takes just about as much training to become a doctor as it does to become a pastry chef in France. So that's just crazy. So yeah,
yeah, so,
very cool.
I mean, amazing individual, and yeah, we definitely want to give him credit for that, because this project would not have happened without him. So and again, very painstaking to go back and forth. Anybody knows, as far as the dealing with powders, I mean, we're used to dealing with capsules, which that there's no taste factor to that. So with this, it's just the back and forth. So a project that would normally take a couple of months, I mean, this thing almost drug on to a year. So, but we're very happy that we took the time and put the effort into it up front.
Yeah.
So now everybody can benefit from that.
Yeah, absolutely. As I've known, formulating with you in the past, I mean, it does take us a really long time on the front end, but there's a huge reason for that, and the payoff is, enormous, and it's something we know that we're going to be able to stand behind for a long time. And this one, especially.
Yeah, and the second thing you mentioned was just the whole piece as far as assimilation. So
yep.
after the fact, we create something that tastes absolutely amazing. You have to be able to, your body has to agree with you. I mean, not just your mouth, but from there to comes out the other end. So that's where this ingredient Astrozyme comes into play. So this was something that we created a few years back, and it's like it says here, proprietary clinically proven combination proteolytic enzymes that digest and break down the proteins. And we have herbs, and they're extracts of herbs, and then some trace minerals. So what these do, there's two parts to it. I mean, obviously we'll look in the slides here in a minute, but
yep.
The main thing, again, going back to kind of our company philosophy, the product is obviously non-GMO, non-dairy, non-soy, gluten-free, allergen-free, and vegan. So again, and just kind of looking at the study, because it says clinically proven. So we did a study to look at what actually happened. So there's two parts to protein as far as utilizing proteins. There's the digestion piece, and then there's the absorption or assimilation piece. So the first, and obviously the most important, is what's able to break the proteins down into smaller peptides.
Yep.
and amino acids. So enzymes are the only thing on the planet that can do
Can do
that.
that. Yes.
And what you want to do is look at, obviously the body has a wide pH range. So you want your enzymes to work in all of those pH ranges. So with this study, if you look at the percentages and the amount of time, so obviously it's real time. I mean, it's not like you stick the protein in there and wait a day and come back and go, oh, did it digest? It's like the stuff's moving through your body pretty quickly. So on average, you have 30, 60 minutes for your body to break that down. So the study mimicked that.
Yeah, it's
So
huge.
now, yeah, we look at the percentages. So, in a pH of 4, 96%, pH of 6, 95%, pH of 8, 90%, pH of 10, 90%. So, those are significant numbers.
They
So
are.
again, it's on average, whatever, let's say 92 to 93% of the proteins are being broken down in real time, in real conditions. So, and then from there we jump to the next part, which is the assimilation or the absorption factor. So this study measured two things. I mean, the first was the amount of peptides that were actually absorbed. So again, this goes back to bodybuilders, athletes, anybody that's interested in the protein that they're taking, because the object here, I mean, you can take a protein that has uh, a super high amount of protein content, but I go, if there aren't any enzymes in there and you're not supplying, your body's not doing a great job of supplying those, I go, the absorption factor is going to be pretty low.
And that's going to create a
So
host of issues for you, like not just that you're not getting the protein, but I mean all the different negatives that go with protein when you don't break it down.
right now you got liver congestion, you have kidney issues, you've got long term, you've
Inflammation,
got
yeah.
gout, yeah, inflammation, all that stuff. So again, this is profound for a study to show a 41% increase in the amount of peptides absorbed is off the charts.
That's off the
So
charts. And talk about just relief to the body. And like you were saying, the you when you take some of these proteins that have just an astronomical amount of protein in them, which we're going to go into more later, and you don't have the enzymes to donate in the first place, you know, because of the food supply and the condition it is, and because that person is probably already eating an insanely high amount of protein in their diet if they're a bodybuilder. So, just really, really good points. And then the other thing is the other people that are going to be taking this with their doctors are going to be clients that are ill. And of course, if you're ill, one of those big reasons being you're super low on enzymes because your immune system is just shot. You're spending the enzymes you do have and doing the little bit of digestive work that you can do. So, yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful that this guy is in there, and these charts are really speaking to why we hear very little complaints about gut ache and belly ache when people take this protein. And yeah, and Troy, why don't you talk about a little bit about we use the gold standard here in Keiko 2 cell testing. So people that aren't maybe familiar with that, maybe you could touch on that really quick.
yeah, as far as when we put this together, I mean, any study, you're going to be able to punch holes in it. There's, that's just what scientists do. So, but with this, we just didn't want to be able to punch big holes through it. So
Yes.
that's why, with pharmaceutical companies, they use Keiko 2 cells to measure absorption rates on all of their products. So that's just that it's an industry standard. So we wanted to follow that you go, hey, this is something that's in practice in real life, with real companies that produce billion-dollar products. So, again, if a pharmaceutical company saw results like this, I mean, when they mention that they've had, substantial results, right? I mean, they're
Right.
talking 5%. I mean, if they saw a 10% increase, they'd be like, hey, this is going to be a
Billion-dollar
double
drug.
digit,
Yeah. Right.
a
Yeah.
$10 billion product, not a $5 billion product. So no, I mean, to 41%, I mean, I doubt if there's any pharmaceutical company that could even come close to that. So again, the studies are available on the website, so you can go check it out. The entire study, everything's listed on there, all the details, all the results. This is, again, just a quick summary
Yes.
of that.
Yep. And you wrote a beautiful ebook that it's just on the drop down of our website. You can go to town on that on the ebook that you wrote. And just so in case you're watching this is the first intro to our company. The Astrozyme is not only in our protein; it's in a vast majority of our products, and eventually will be in all of our products, because it is such a beautiful catalyst to not only protein but all kinds of different things that we don't have time to get into here, but just helping the body absorb really, really wonderful things, and ultimately reduce the amount of stuff your patient needs to take to get a result, which I know is a big passion of yours and also mine as well. All right, so let's go into the next chart here.
Yep. So obviously the body, like we talked about, has 30 to 60 minutes, as that stuff's moving through, the upper part, and then as it keeps moving and traveling through the lower intestinal tract, small intestine, large intestine. So again, the rate at which they're absorbed is also important, right? Because you have limited time for your body to do that. So here we see a 30% increase in the rate of absorption. So your body's taking them up 30% faster. I mean, that's
huge.
That's huge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's going to help with the fatigue and again with the gut ache stuff. And then, also just, bringing you those amino acids all the faster, reduce your chance of, autoimmune type inflammation. And if you have leaky gut, which is what everyone does to some degree, and just amazing stuff that this little Astrozyme can do that.
Yeah, and just to speak to, like for me as an athlete, I mean, the whole absorption piece with this, I mean, the absorption rates, I mean, goes back to how quickly, I mean, because another way to say this is that I'm going to be able to recuperate 30% faster. That's of interest to me as an athlete. So that I can get back out there and do the same thing tomorrow because my body's recuperated fully. So plays a huge role in part of that. So
yes, I bet it helped a lot too when you're considering climbing Mount Everest like you did. That 30% faster means probably I'll be dead because I need to get up there or else I'm gonna die. So I can see why you put enzyme flags every time you peak a mountain, man. It's just awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then our last little chart there, just again, the peptides are just smaller. Those are smaller chains of amino acids linked together, and the amino acids are obviously the single links that make up a protein. So with this, we saw even substantial rate of increase here. So I think the slide here is off a little bit. So there are two slides. I mean, so with this one, rate of absorption amino acids increased by 30%. So absorption rate actually increased 60%. So if you look at the chart, we started with 100%. So a 60% increase in the amount of amino acids.
Yes, not 30.
Or the rate of absorption. So again, this just means recuperation times are going to be, basically cut in half. So again, these are the building blocks that your body uses to rebuild, all muscle, anything that's a protein content in the body. This is what the body uses.
Right. Yeah. And they've got a lot of protein. Definitely would be considered a protein-based organism.
Yes.
Okay. So
just to kind of summarize, I mean, this is why. If you look at most proteins in the marketplace, they don't put enzymes in there, and if they do, they'll kind of throw something at the wall to see what sticks. I mean, not interested in that. I mean, this is a very specific study, and it's very specific to this protein powder in regards to. That's what we want to look at the comparison chart next.
Yes.
So and we'll see.
I guess something
why this is so important.
Nice to mention before we do that is like. Because there are other proteins out there with enzymes in them, but what is the source of those enzymes? Is it an animal? And is it going to stay stable in the packet if it's a certain type, and what type of pH ranges is it going to work in? Whereas the microbial-based vegan forms are going to stand out against those types. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely tune into some of our other videos where we really get into the form and the sourcing of our products, which is a big part of what we do. Okay, all right. So this is a really cool chart that you put together, just comparing some of the top-based proteins out there, and you really, really well thought out chart here. So why don't you kind of take it away, Troy, and let's go into this guy.
Yeah, so this is where the rubber meets the road, like, the all the smoke and mirrors. I mean, it comes down to this chart. So the we have the list of the companies at the top, and these were all similar products. So like if Garden of Life had a vanilla protein, that's what we used. If Shakeology had a vanilla protein, that's what we used. Same thing with US Enzymes. So we kind of, these are all vanilla proteins, so that's just kind of a given.
Yeah, we should
And
say
then down,
our two products are their vanilla and chocolate, and cacao, and then just vanilla is the source. We obviously don't have any sugar, and none of our proteins are isolates. They're completely natural forms. So yeah, I guess from there let's like you said, see where the rubber meets the road on these guys.
yeah, and then along the left-hand side, you've just got the different categories that we'll look at. So that's what those are the things we're interested in comparing with all the products. So as far as the color coded thing, I mean, obviously green means go. So a green is the best category. Yellow is like use some caution,
Yep.
and then red is like that's a stop. Do not proceed. So, and we'll explain that in detail as we go through here. So let's just look at serving size. So again, this deals with compliance. I mean, if you're telling your client to take 46 grams of protein 3 times a day, it's like you might as well just stick a shovel in the
Right.
bag or hook
Yeah.
up an IV.
Right.
I mean,
My
it's
gut just
stupid.
starts thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. 40, yeah. So any product that tells you to take more than 40 grams per serving is red. I mean, that's a no-go. I mean, so forget it. So that's why they're red. Yellow, you've got anything in the 30-gram range from 30 to 39. Okay, that's reasonable, right? But
Yep.
optimally, you can get this thing in under 30 grams in the 25 to 30 gram range. That's where you want to be. I mean,
Yep.
it's a small scoop. Yeah, it's not you're not gonna have to chug it down. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's a
You need to
just
be
the
a
volume of.
weightlifter just to carry some of these proteins back from the store.
So
Yeah.
again, there are only two companies that get the green light on this. So you got Sun Warrior 25 grams and US Enzymes at 26 grams. So enough said there. Calories. So this was one of our big things. Is like, hey, this thing isn't meant to suck up half of your caloric intake a
Right.
day, right? So and obviously, if you look here, I mean, companies that are above 150. So there's only one company. So you got Vega One that's got 160 calories. You go, it's too much.
Right.
So you've got some calories that there are some companies that are in the kind of like 125 to 150 range. So okay, those aren't bad, but optimally, if it's less than 125, that's what you're looking for. So for us, our goal was 100 calories. I mean,
Yep.
there was compromise that you go. That's why we took so long to make this, because you go, wow. I mean, that's not very many calories for what you're getting here. So again, there are four companies that scored well in that category: Garden of Life, Raw Fusion, Sun Warrior, and US Enzymes. Okay, moving on to fat. So again, most people are interested in taking products with a high fat content, especially if it's a protein product. Why is there so much fat in there?
Right.
So you'd have to ask Vega One that, or Vega One that. So I mean, they're the only ones that kind of got the red, do not proceed. Most companies get this. So I mean, there's a couple of them with 3 and 4 grams, but again, the vast majority of companies on here, 2.5 grams or less. So that's where you want to be for that. Sodium content. I mean, this was another one of our things that we said, hey, our goal was 100 milligrams. Did we meet that? No. We got in at 110, which if you look on here, there's no company that's even
Close. Right.
close to that. I go, some of these companies 348 milligrams. I'm like, holy smokes. I mean,
It's like
reminds
eating a
me of
jar of
eating a
pickles.
can of soup.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
yeah, a can of soup where it says, and then it says it's only 600 milligrams of sodium, but then it says, oh, there's 3 servings in a can.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, 348, ridiculous. Even in the 200 range, I mean, you got a couple companies there. You go, no, I mean, this isn't a sodium supplement,
Right.
right?
This
Why is there so
isn't
much
for
sodium?
someone who just did 3 days in football in 110-degree weather or something like that.
Yeah. So really, only 2 companies here that are in the green zone, lean body with 150, and then with US enzymes at 110. And moving on to carbohydrates. So again, you don't want a lot of carbohydrates in there, because now your body's going to have to, utilize those or do something with them.
Yep.
So it's just extra, energy that's needed to do that. So again, we have some companies that are, 10 grams or more of carbohydrates. So you're like, oof, that's too many.
Right.
So, and then ideally, you're talking, 5 grams or less. So again, there are 3 companies that hit the green mark on that. With our product, we have 7 grams, so we were just outside of the the ideal range.
Yep.
So, okay, so moving on to sugars.
Yes.
So sugars, a big thing there, and then we'll there's some asterisks here we want to look at.
With those forms of the sugar. Yep.
Yeah, so kudos to those companies that got 0 grams. I mean, so Garden of Life and Sun Warrior, good for you. US Enzymes and Vega 1, we've got 1 gram, as well as Raw Fusion. So those are all acceptable. So there's no issues with that.
And our sugar is coming from the berry blend, that we have in there for, extra antioxidant and things like that. So
Right. So some of that's built into the ingredients, nothing added. So with let's see, we were at there's a couple of asterisks here under sugars for Orgain. So what does that mean? So you go down to the bottom there, it's erythritol. So what that is, it produces like a sugar alcohol. So some companies actually, I don't know if it's legal to just list it as sugar, or if they have to put, some companies I've seen with this new labeling laws that have been introduced. I think you have to call out, some if it does have sugar alcohol. So this one does. That's why it was kind of a cautionary thing. It's also it's over the top. I mean, anything over, a couple of grams, 3 grams, I mean, you don't need. So this is 5 grams, and of course Shakeology has 7 grams. So that's not acceptable. Okay, moving on to fiber. So again, fiber is a good thing. I mean, there's nothing, the more fiber, the better in here. So the companies that just, slim by getting 1 gram, we gave them a red, like, okay, that's pretty lame.
Yep.
Companies that had, 3 grams, which there's 3 of them there. And then companies that put in 5 grams or more. So there's actually 2 companies, Orgain and Vega 1, that had 5 and 6 grams of fiber. So, good for them.
Yeah, and it would be probably nice to put an asterisk by ours too in the fiber, because the fiber we're using is a very branded, well-researched form of fiber in the sun fiber. So, we know we're getting some beautiful, a beautiful source of fiber that's actually been heavily researched. So,
right.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, and then obviously one of the main things, this is why we introduced the video with Astrozyme, because if we look here, I mean, our grams of protein they look, I mean, they're out of all the proteins on here, they're the lowest grams of protein. So we only have 14. A couple of companies close that was 16 and 17, but most of them have between 20 and 25 grams of protein.
Yep.
So what does that mean? Well, I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't mean anything. So until we get down to the next line here. So we're just going to kind of cover both of these at the same time. So we mentioned what Astrozyme is. So a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4 of the companies have just no enzymes at all. So they just totally missed the boat, have no clue. They're just assuming that your body's going to be able to digest and absorb that. And then we've got 3 companies that attempted to put some enzymes in. So Vega 1, the only thing they put in theirs was papain, which, okay, it's going to act on some enzymes in limited pH ranges. So that's why I thought that's pretty lame effort. So we just gave them a red on that. So we've got Shakeology over here with 6 different enzymes. Okay, well, at least they took a good swing at that. So we gave them a yellow. And same thing with Garden of Life. I mean, they kind of threw the wall. Everything that they could fit in, they threw in there. And again, with this, I mean, 13 different enzymes. I mean, do you really need 13 different enzymes? I don't think so. I mean, if you look at, they have, very low carbohydrates, very low sugars, very low fiber. Why are you putting in all those other enzymes that digest sugars, fibers, and carbohydrates?
Right. Yeah.
makes no sense. So there's kind of a lack of continuity with that particular product.
Yep.
So,
and we have obviously the all-star for protein breakdown. So, you could easily argue based on those charts that we're sitting around 21, 23 grams if you really want to compare apples to apples, because it's like you said, what you absorb, not what's going to be in the product and potentially even cause you some problems.
yeah. Yep. So again, if you're taking one of these proteins that has, 20 grams, no enzymes, I go, you're lucky if you get 10 grams out of that or half of it.
Right.
So,
and let alone what's going to get into your bloodstream and potentially cause inflammation and prevent you even further from recovery and things like that. So
right.
more and more of a problem these days too.
Yeah, and again, under the protein, we didn't give ourselves a green. We gave it a yellow. So
Yep.
we're not, we're not,
right,
kind of trying to be objective as possible here. So
yes,
okay, so we got with AstraZyme. Obviously, nobody has AstraZyme except US Enzymes, so there's a reason for that. Okay, and then moving on to some other things that are important. I mean, probiotics, so CFUs. Strains and CFUs. So the red ones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, didn't put any probiotics in at all. And then we've got four companies that did put probiotics, so that's good. We have Garden of Life, that 3 different strains, 3 billion CFUs total. That's respectable. We have Shakeology. They put in 1, which I believe is a Bacillus subtilis or Bacillus coagulans product. Don't tell you activity units. So again, it's probably a dusting just so they can put that on the label. Our products, we have 4 different strains and 2 billion CFUs per serving. And then Vega 1 just has 1. And again, I believe that was a Bacillus strain. And again, they don't tell you the activity. So again, but we still gave them a green, for all of those because they made the effort to put it in there. Superfoods, look at this. I mean, wow, 5 out of the companies didn't even put that in there. So Shakeology's got some in there. US Enzymes, we have they're both a full veggie blend as well as a full kind of superfood blend.
Yep.
In there. Vega 1 also does a great job with that. Okay, so this was our main goal in producing this product was taste. So we looked, and if you can do your own research, but if you look and taste these products yourself, Garden of Life, I mean, that's a no-go. Dry, chalky. There's just not much flavor. There's not much taste to that. Lean Body. Again, you're dealing with some of the issues with having it be an animal-based product.
Yep.
Or gain. That's again, their main goal in putting their product together was this better be awesome tasting, and they hit their mark.
Yep.
So that's one product that if you take that or whatever, I go, it's comparable to US Enzymes. Good stuff, in right? Taste wise.
Yep. Taste
thumbs up
for sure.
Well,
it's got raw fusion in it, but so you're probably half drunk when you take it. No, I'm just kidding. This is great. But no, yeah, I've had that before. It does taste really good. Troy? Troy, are you still with me? Did you hit mute button by chance? All right. So
can you hear me?
Oh, he's back. All right. Yes, we'll continue to roll here.
Okay.
Yes. So we lost you moving into raw fusion on the taste. So if you want to take it from there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So we have raw fusion, Shakeology, Sun Warrior. Again, all very similar as far as just the very chalky, dry, very little taste, and basically you have to chug it down or put something sweet in it to make it worthwhile taking.
Sure.
US Enzymes, again, that was our main objective here, was just to have a absolutely fantastic smooth velvet mouthfeel, no bitter aftertaste, and that was combining it with just water. I mean, so we had very stringent guidelines here. So if you put this in with anything else, you're going to be like blown away.
Yeah, I mean, we have people use it for just all kinds of different recipes for, like healthy, like, vegan fudge bars or even raw food cooking or uncooking. People use it for baking. They love it. It makes their stuff taste so much better. So yeah, this is like you said, just with water, it tastes so smooth and so nice. And yeah, it really does taste amazing.
Yeah, and then Vega One going again. Just and a lot of this you have to go down to. We'll get that to the bottom. With the main or
Yep.
top three ingredients, and they're putting in pea flax and pea starch. So you go, no wonder it tastes like
Starchy.
what.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no good. Okay, so one thing that was good for all the companies, they scored well, was there are no artificial sweeteners added to any of these protein mixes.
Excellent.
So good. And now this is a big one. So gluten, soy, and dairy free. So we've got some companies here that we wanted to put in there, like Lean Body. Obviously, they're using milk and soy, so that's not good. Orgain has some milk byproducts in it. Same thing with Shakeology. So they can't make those claims, and they don't make those claims on their labels or their
Right.
website.
And then here's a big
The
one.
rest of the Yep, all the rest of the companies are great. So yeah, this is becoming. It would be a concern to me, right? I mean, that's why if you look at most food products, people are used to that, and they don't really whatever give it much credence or importance. But in the world of dietary supplements, especially proteins, if you look here, I mean, every single one of these companies is having their products produced in a facility with other allergens.
Right.
So this first one, Garden of Life, I mean, they nowhere on any of the sites, anything that I looked, and I looked extensively. So they've obviously done their job as far as making this available, this information unavailable. So don't know where their stuff's being made, but they don't make the claim that it's an allergen-free facility. So who knows how many allergens are present in the facilities they're using. They're probably using multiple facilities.
Right.
And now that this is owned by Nestle, I'm sure, that's not a concern for them. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, their main, they use milk and soy in 99%
Yep.
of the products
About
they produce
everything. Yep.
across the planet.
So yeah,
So
they don't have to worry about a
that's,
claim that they weren't making in the first
yeah.
place.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to change. Lean Body, so they just had one, which is obviously milk, which is the whey protein. Orgain, three different allergens present. Raw Fusion 7, Shakeology 8. I
Yeah.
go, there are only eight major allergens, so every single one of those,
That's a good point. I was going to be like, wait a minute. Yeah.
you know,
We got
they've
the
scored all
hit
eight
the
on this
lottery
one,
on
yeah,
that
but
one. Yep. Right.
yeah. Sun Warrior, I mean, this is, in my opinion,
Surprising.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be a super clean product, but yet, they're producing in a facility that has, a couple of allergens.
Yeah.
So same thing with Vega One. So again, the facility that U.S. Enzymes is probably one of the few facilities in the entire country that is an allergen-free facility.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had
Okay,
asthma,
so
you should just go live inside of our factory for a while.
right.
You do well. That air in there is so clean. Okay.
Right. So top three ingredients. So this tells you a lot about where the company's putting their money, right? So we'll just highlight because if you look there's some very similar things here with all the green companies. So we got
Yep.
organic pea, organic brown rice, organic amaranth, organic pea, organic brown rice, organic chia seed, organic pea, organic hemp, organic goji, organic pea, pumpkin, and hemp. So these companies put the money up front, right? Because these are not cheap products,
Yep.
not cheap ingredients. They're the real deal, and they're all organic. So you're gonna pay for that. So that's why, and it also depending on how you blend it. Because one of the interesting things I thought is that you go, okay, there are four companies that use great ingredients. How come only two of them taste good? Right? Only two of them got the thumbs up.
Yeah.
The other two didn't. So they didn't do their full homework. Right? So they just put that in there, and they didn't have a medical doctor slash pastry chef help them,
Right.
fine tune that
Right.
to get it to taste good. So they missed a step there. Okay, so then we have obviously the red ones here. We got whey, sunflower oil, and inulin. I'm like, woof. I mean, that's
Yeah.
all those are, like not something that should be, the top three ingredients in a protein powder.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we look over here at the other red one. We got whey, pea, and flax. So again, none of this stuff is organic. So, and this company obviously is trying to, bridge the animal and the plant world here,
Yep.
but not doing a very good job. So then the yellow, we have a couple of them here. So pea isolate, rice isolate, and artichoke. So again, this company is skimping
Yep.
big time,
Artichoke.
big time. This is like the bottom of the barrels. Like when the bottom of the barrel, and when the barrel has been emptied and what's left in the bottom, this is what they're using.
Yeah, isolates are, yeah. Maybe you can talk a little bit about isolates in the protein world. I know a lot of doctors understand that, especially that use live source supplements. But yeah, like obviously they're the most inexpensive ways to source a protein. But maybe you could touch a little bit on isolates to. So docs kind of
Yeah, it's probably no different than like you talk about like an orange. You go, okay, an orange consists of hundreds of different components, but if you just isolate and pull out the ascorbic acid, the vitamin C, I mean, okay, yeah, you can put that on your label. It looks good, sounds good, but is it does the body recognize it and can it utilize it? No. I mean, it's the same concept here. I mean, they're just taking out the protein aspect of that so they can up, and keep their protein content high, right? Because this product had 21 grams of protein. But again, the body's not going to recognize that or be able to utilize that. And we'll get to that too, but if you look, I mean, that's why these things are so inexpensive, because if you look at, they have absolute lowest price of all the products. And you go, well, duh.
Yeah, their profit margin is probably still pretty nice.
Yeah, and then jumping over to the other one, Vega one. Again, pea, is it organic? No. Flax, is it organic? No. And then pea starch, I was like, oh, what's So again, that's going to be that could fall under like an isolate, that they're just using that as a filler essentially, because it would have zero protein content. So again. Not sure. Again, it's a filler. That's all it is. Okay,
like,
so
price per be one of your top three ingredients. It's
again just a filler.
Yeah, and I like how you picked out not only like the top proteins in the market, but you went for the highest quality ones that are usually, some of these are you're not going to find in even your typical health food store. You're going to have to go and get them somewhere special.
Right. Yep, and then just to make the playing field even, it's a price per serving. So again, the games that people are playing here, a lot of these companies will have 15 servings per pouch, 20 servings per pouch. So obviously our trademark is 31 servings. You get a full month supply in there. But just to make it fair, this is price per serving. So you just divide the price that they're selling it for by the number of servings, and this is what the number it comes up with. So, a lot of green companies here. So obviously Raw Fusion came in the lowest at 107. Jumping over to Sun Warrior 127, Orgain at 150, Garden of Life at $1.80, US Enzymes at $1.94. So those are all reasonable within the less than $2 per serving.
Yep.
Then anything over $2, $2 to $3, you're in the yellow zone. So there you got Lean Body at 206 and Vega One at 275. And then of course anything over $3, there's only one company, so Shakeology. And again, that's just the structure of how they sell their products. They have to mark it up so much. So 433. So that's a lot. So again, that's why they got the red zone there.
Right.
So
more than like a triple, quadruple latte from like Starbucks or something. Or whatever those caramel macchiato with extra whip times, whatever. Yeah.
So from there, we just added up all the green in each column. So Garden of Life, ding, ding, ding. They got 10. So I mean, that's impressive. So the only thing I do want to mention here is there's an asterisk here under the allergen-free facility. So because they don't manufacture their own products, they source all that stuff out. They had their first recall in 2014.
Yep.
And I do believe that was for heavy metals. So they had some issue with heavy metals. And I think that was made public by the Health Ranger, kind of brought that to everybody's
Health
attention.
Ranger, yep.
Yeah, and so then that ended up being a national recall. So they brought everything back in the house, reformulated, retooled it, brought it back out, cleaned it up. But then 2 years later, 2016, salmonella. So, ouch.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one. Yeah.
Pretty hard to dispute that. You know what I'm saying? When you have the CDC reported 11 different states, dozens of people, and so it wasn't just a local phenomenon. So whoever was making that for them, I'm sure they found a new manufacturer.
Yeah.
Now it's bad enough you have one recall, right? So then 2 years later, it's like, ooh, so they had to recall, all those products again. So I'm just it's the beginning of 2018, so they still have 11 months. I mean, to stay on schedule, right, for a recall every 2 years. So that's why I'm, just we put them in a cautionary thing just because of the recall history there.
Yep.
Lean Body 3, obviously this is an animal-based product. Didn't taste good, didn't score well at all. So that's the lowest score of all of them. Orgain, a 6, so kind of on the low end of things. So just a lot of things that they just left out. Raw Fusion scored 8, which is respectable. Again, it's just the fact that the taste and the ingredients and what you're getting there aren't really worth taking. So Shakeology scored, super low. So again, that's the fact that there's just way too much stuff in there. It costs way too much money, and the ingredients are low quality. Sun Warrior. So again, that's what out of all these companies, I'd say that I'd have more respect for them than any of the other companies. So
yeah, that's what I used to think before I met you. Sun Warrior.
So they use great ingredients. They just the taste piece and the kind of the add-ons that they forgot there. So other than that, I go definitely great product, great company. US Enzymes. So again, we got 14. So obviously, by far, double or triple the score of a lot of these other companies. So, obviously, some of the issues there, I mean, the carbohydrate in the fibers and the proteins, and we addressed a few of those, but, overall, awesome product. And then the last one here, Vega 1, scored a 7, which is kind of, halfway in middle there. So again, their choice of their ingredients is pretty poor. I think that's the main thing. And then the amount of stuff you actually have to take, also contributed to those.
Such a the scooper in that thing must be gigantic.
Just kind of took them over the top there. So anyway, so that's the lay of the land where the rubber meets the road. Yeah. So
and we should mention protein is obviously when you go to buy a protein, it's an investment, and we sell single serving packets. So for just a couple of bucks, you can buy a few of them of each, and your patients can just be like, oh, I want some protein. They pay like $4. They can try it. It's a full serving. We also sell the really nice shakers that are obviously in BPA free plastic and things like that you can get from us for a couple of bucks too, so the patients can grab one of those on their way out the door. So I like that. Another nice convenience thing for people to give it a whirl.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. So now, great comparison on the basics, but then again, talking about like what we talked about earlier, sourcing. Where are these coming from, and what's some of the potential toxins that might be laying afoot.
Yep. So obviously, heavy metals, because of the recall, Garden of Life's recall in 2014. Anybody and everybody that was in the industry went back. Brown rice protein was the culprit. Most of that stuff was being sourced from China. So a lot of companies retooled their stuff and said, hey, we better clean it up. So and again, for peace of mind, and also for the fact that California is Prop 65.
Yep.
So heavy metals are listed as part of that. So again, that's the reason why we, list it on our label. So if you look at the back of the protein pouch, you will see a small box that says, warning, this product may contain ingredients that are, blah, blah, blah. So that's all having to do with the California Prop 65. So there are a number of people that are out there, companies as well as individuals, that do nothing but go out and purchase products off the shelf or off the internet, send them to a third-party testing lab like this one here. If the results come back high, they send them a letter saying, you've violated Prop 65 and we're suing you for $2 million. Would you like to settle for 1 million?
Yeah.
And most companies do, because now they're caught red-handed. I go, you can't deny the results, that the third-party lab would produce. So that's why we post these. So this is a third-party lab we send the products out to, make sure that they're absolutely, squeaky clean. So, because the other thing that they do is, not necessarily with protein powders, but some of the other things, like they'll say, okay, well, if I took this 10 servings a day, it would be over the limit. Well, okay. That's stretching it a bit, but they've also done that. So that's why the disclaimer's on there, so that we don't have any liability issues.
That. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, don't have to deal with that. And then
a way to make a quick buck suing somebody over something that's just ridiculous. People will find a way in. It's unfortunate society we live in, but that's the way it is. But so again, I love the fact that we provide the assays, not only on this product, but like another thing I love about working with you is the transparency. So, doctors, they're used to asking, does your product contain gluten, soy, casein, these types of things. And, that's all well and good, but that's really not the questions they should be asking. I mean, yes, they should be asking those questions, but they should be asking for the assay of the product so they know what's in it, especially in today's day and age with so many supplements out there. And, I love the fact that we post the assays not only on this product, but on all of them. So any doctors listening, you want to see what's in our products, go to our website and you can pull up the assays.
Yep. Okay, so that's Prop 65 heavy metals. And then the other test that we did, just because of this being a protein, most bodybuilders are going to be interested in the amino acid profile. So all the numbers are listed there for your, comparison. You can compare apples to apples then. So, and take a look. And again, keep in mind that the absorption rates of peptides and amino acids, right, especially with amino acids, was 60% greater. So even though some of these numbers probably look like they're half of what they would find in another vegan protein, time you factor the astrazyme piece in there, they balance out.
Yes, great point.
Okay, so so that's provided there for your convenience, and that's just the references that the Covance uses. Last thing here is the certificate of analysis. So again, this is provided from the manufacturer. So again, lists everything, calls everything out as far as all the different tests that are done on this. From the moisture content, mesh size, all the micro testing that is done, and then as well as just what ingredients are in there. And again, at the bottom, as far as there are any fillers or carriers, no, made in the USA. So again, that's
not sourced from China,
provided.
Right?
Yep. Okay, so I think that
I think you covered the bases. Absolutely love the chart. If you're listening to this for the first time, you don't know much about us. This is our website, usenzymes.com. If you're a clinician, just click on this button right here for requesting an account. And then once your account's up, you can just click over here, log in, and then a new bar will pop up that says doctors. And that's where you can get into the back office, where we have all kinds of wonderful research available. And if you're a patient listening to this and you're like, man, I really want some of this protein, we do sell our products exclusively through clinicians. So if you have a clinician you work with, ask them to carry our products. You can purchase through them directly off of our website, just under their account, and we'll handle the shipping so the clinician doesn't have to stock the product. Or if you want a consult, we have a staff doctor that's going to be coming on soon, and you can just get an online consult, and that doctor will make a recommendation for you, so you don't have to make a clinic visit or go see your local clinician. Obviously, we recommend that you do that eventually if you want to get on a really good protocol, but that is a service that's going to be provided. So, Troy, anything else you'd like to add before we sign off here?
Nope, nope. This is one of those awesome products that you just we put the time and effort into it, and it absolutely shows in the comparison chart. And not just there, but I go, we just get so much feedback. I mean, people that try the product, they absolutely love it. So that's why
Yes.
we do our best to get the word out there, and have people take a good clean protein. So this is it.
Yep. Not only like does it have all those green markers, but huge, the last piece we covered with how clean it is with the heavy metals and everything like that. And like you'd mentioned, some of the recalls, and I'm sure more of that will be coming. But I also am grateful for it because more and more people are cleaning up their act, and that's something we definitely need in our industry. And I applaud you for being like one of the pioneers that have been doing that for over 20 years.
Yep.
All right, thanks
Awesome.
everybody,
Yep.
and we look forward to catching you on the next event. All right, thank you
Thanks.
so much, and yeah, see you next time. Sorry, I don't know why this is. That's not.